Hi, everyone.
Good day, everyone. Um, Thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Victor, and we'll just be having a quick session with our speaker today, Mr. Edu, on stock transfer processes in SAP S4HANA Cloud. So the webinar is for people who are interested in Thank you, Justice. So the webinar is for people who are interested in supply chain, people who want to see various inventory accuracy processes, and also who want to streamline their operations across warehouses and storage locations. So just a bit about our presenter, Mr. Ido. He is an SAP expert, a consultant for R3 Consulting. He's also our head of product integration and implementation. So Mr. Ido will be just running us through SAP S4HANA, the processes involved in stock control. Mr. Ido, I don't know if you can hear us or
Yeah,
hear me, rather.
I can hear you. I can hear
Thank you
everyone.
very much.
Good morning or good afternoon from wherever you're listening to us. Good to have you be on this episode of our session. All right. And go ahead, Victor.
All right, thank you
Or do
very
you
much for
just
joining.
yeah.
Okay, so before you start, I would let everyone know that if you have any questions at any point during this event, you can feel free to use the Q&A icon on the top of your screen, or you could raise your hand maybe when there's time for questions, and I will unmute you to ask your question. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. This session will be recorded, so if anyone needs to record it, or if anyone would like to meet with Mr. Matthew after the session, please feel free to drop your email in the chat and I'll send you the information. So, Mr. Dole, thank you very much once again, and the floor is open to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Victor. Once again, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matthew. And today we are going to be discussing on stock transfer processes and how it impacts major operations of many organizations when it comes to supply chain processes. And application we're introducing that handles the stock transfer process is SAP S4HANA Cloud Public Edition. Without taking much of your time and for us to continue, I'm going to share my screen. Please, Victor, confirm if you can see my screen. Just going to share. Okay. All right. Can you see my screen, Victor?
Yes, I believe we can see.
All right. Okay. At any point in time, please, if you have any questions, you can stop me and ask a question. I'll be glad to take any question. All right. So stock transfer processes in SAP S4HANA Cloud Public Edition. So a stock transfer is a concept level 12 in inter-plant, cross-plant, or intercompany transfer, a situation where companies manages the process of transferring stock between different locations within the same company or the same entity. All right. So what we'll cover today, because from SAP scenario, there are three transfer scenarios. We have the same plant scenario, we have the same company scenario, or we have different company scenario. And the scenario also drew down to the storage location scenario. So, and how the transfer processes are being done are strictly how determined by the warehouse management operations. And this also boiled down to the supply chain processes that every organization, handles. And, from the transfer scenarios, we have what we call extending into execution, where you have to manage the transportation orders execution, how warehouse management and transportation management plugs into the same flow. So if we are discussing about stock transfer, we also have to be talking about transportation management, because how supply chain handles their transportation management when it comes to procurement process or sales process, transportation management actually plugs into these processes. And the same thing applies to stock transfer process when we're talking about where stock transfer operations. So we have scenarios where if you're handling stock transfer with delivery or without delivery, then we have to also consider the fact that, yes, you have to handle delivery and consider this delivery in the process of handling transportation management. Then the tools and technologies we are going to be looking at are actually Fiori, which is SAP S4HANA UI interface that SAP already had built. So we are going to be looking at this in a nutshell as time goes on. Maybe if time permits, you can also see demo scenarios. Then we also can cover some of the best practices and look at the pitfall, the practical recommendation, and how to go deeper into most of these processes. Okay, and so let's get started. Inventory has to be where the demand is. Yes. Many organizations, most organizations cannot do without, handling their inventory processes. And part of the inventory process is where the stock transfer operations lies. So very few companies operate, but out of single location, many organizations in Nigeria as of today, they manage most of the operations out of single location. And there are options for them to even expand. And when they try to expand, these operations become stagnant. And for the fact that many organizations still run most of their processes in isolation, it gives a lot of bottleneck. And the fact that some organizations still, as of today, are manually handling their processes, or their processes is not dynamic, it bears a lot of questions of how most of the operations are being triggered. So a situation where we have multi-plant manufacturing, regional distribution center, and cross-border subsidiaries all depends on stock being able to move from wherever location it is to where it's actually needed. Now, getting the configuration right is not a narrow logistic detail. It touches supply chain planning, finance, and compliance at the same time. So every of the operations that is operated has to be detailed enough to cover every area of the organization. When it comes to every area, I'm talking about the departments where the finance have to track all the values of the stock or their accounting operations, to how the finance and the sales, handle all their processes, because everything still boils down to getting the stock to the location where it is needed and at the right time, because that is the essence of supply chain. So we are talking about multi-plants and multi-entities. So manufacturing, distribution, and cross-border subsidiary all depend on moving stuff from one location to another location. Then we are also looking at service level and working capital. So misplaced inventory drops service level and ties up cash in the wrong place. So imagine there's a need for a sales delivery to happen, and when you check the stock or the inventory level of a particular location, it's down, and you transfer from a location to another location, and eventually the delivery is not met at the right time. So this bears a lot of issue with how the organization operates. And we also look at the compliance and traceability effect. So movement must be visible. Movement must be visible, and this has to be done the right way and at the right time. And once it's done the right way and the right time, the value at which it is done and how it is being audited is very, very crucial to how the processes need to work. So these are the reasons why inventory matters, especially when it comes to supply chain processes. So we have to cover the core transfer scenarios and the full landscape. All right, so the vocabulary we'll be using here is very detailed. We have the plant. A plant is an operational location. It can be a manufacturing site or a distribution center where stock are physically, tracked or where stock are located. Then we have storage location. Storage location is a subdivision within the plant, such as a raw material area or a quality inspection zone. So these are where stock are being kept. We can define store, we can say store locations are more like a storage unit where stock are being, material stocks are being kept and tracked. Also within the storage location, we can have bin location or a bin location units where you can easily track items by their storage location, and also items that you batch, or you serialize, that you track the serial number. They can also be kept in the storage location and define them. Now, the company code. So the company code is a legal entity that owns the inventory, the boundary that turns a transfer into a sale. So the company code is actually a legal entity. Like, it's actually how you define the organization as a whole. Then we have the stock transport order. So the stock transport order is the purchasing document that formally represents a transfer between two plants. So if you have two plants within an organization, you can you can raise a transport order that actually determines how the stock are being transferred from one location to another location. And in this case, some organization treats their stock transfer as a customer-vendor relationship. In this case, you can use stock transport order to define that, where within the stock transport order document, there is a procurement document that is triggered and the system accepts that. All right. If you have any question, please feel free to ask. Now, what scenario applies? Which scenario applies? Now, we have, like I said, 3 different scenarios when it comes to stock transfer. So we have stock transfer requirements. Now, we have the same plant transfer, which is a same transfer, stock transfer posting. We have different plant transfer, which is within the same company. And the code is BME or IP7. Then we have different company, which is different company, different entity transfer. Each boundary has a matching pre-configured scope in SAP, as far as I'm concerned. Now, if we are talking about same plant, which is transfer posting, this is like an issue once between different storage location or storage units. So you issue at once and you receive at the same destination. This can happen at any time. So you can have a reason for transferring from one storage unit to another storage unit based on the business requirement or the business criteria. And for this kind of transfer, there is no purchasing document that is required or involved because it's a direct inventory posting. The accounting entry is just going to be posted from one GL to another GL for the finance operation. Now, this is also like a single step when stock move from one posting to another posting, just like I mentioned. So we have the 2-step when it must leave from the source before it can be received from the destination, which is the stock transport order. And usually the first process is for a new usable length is to send it, and no cross-functional configuration is required because this is more of like sending between 2 storage locations. So the only configuration that is required is to define the storage location or the storage units that within from the source and the destination storage unit. All right. We also have the cross plant, which this is without delivery. So the stock transfer cross plant without delivery means you can transfer stock from one location to another location without posting the delivery document to show that yes, this transfer is actually tracked based on delivery process. So what this means is you can actually post a goods issue from a destination, from a source plant to the destination plant, and define storage unit from which you pick the stock from that location to another location. And you can also post a goods receipt because a goods issue is actually meant to be posted from the source destination, and a goods receipt will be posted from the receiving end. So whoever is going to receive will act on the goods issue that was actually triggered from the source plant. So based on the best practice, the transfer doesn't need formal shipping documentation because this is just like transferring from one plant to another plant within the same entity. So it doesn't require any delivery document, like I said. So it's a lean step to the three-step flow with no separate delivery. All right. Now, if we are going to be talking about cross-plant with delivery, which is another scenario that is very important, this scenario will apply as a stock transfer process with delivery. So here you have to raise a stock transport order. From the stock transport order document, you create an outbound delivery. You post a goods issue, which you have to define a picking point, which is your storage location picking unit. And from the receiving end, which is the destination warehouse or the destination plant or the destination location, you post a goods receipt. Now, from the new SAP S4HANA public edition as of 2502, you can automatically trigger a freight unit. And we are going to delve into transportation management a little bit because there's an aspect of the transportation management unit that touches on the aspect where you have to define your freight management, your freight order, and in fact raise an invoice for your freight order document. So we are going to be touching on that. So a transportation unit is going to be triggered in the transportation management and route the delivery through warehouse management for picking, packing, and loading. So these are going to be defined in the warehouse operation. So imagine you have a system that immediately when you raise a stock transport order, it triggers based on the configuration that was done. It triggers a transportation management to track your freight management or your landed cost. So this happens within the stock transport order operation, and SAP does that effectively without having the users, having a take on how do I handle freight management, landed cost, or any cost that has to do with transferring from one location to another location within the same company or within the same entity. All right, so we have where users need to actually work. So users who actually handle stock transfer, they are users that they are the procurement user actually. Users that manage procurement document like the purchase order. They create a purchase order that and track stock from one transport location to another transport location. Now, from that, the warehouse operation, they track the goods movement, either from the supplier or from a company location to another company location. And from that goods movement document, they actually track the stock transfer within the plant. So if it is within the same plant, yeah, they can do that. Then they manage deliveries, both inbound and outbound deliveries, and track delivery notification, both inbound delivery notification and outbound delivery notification, which can also be tracked by emails or based on the configuration that is required from the organization. Then they also monitor value chain, like track end-to-end tracking for advanced intercompany deliveries. Now, for intercompany processes, which is basically classic, so we have company code A and company code B. Now, remember, company is more like like an entity. So if there is an intercompany transfer processes that SAP uses to track any transfer operations within two companies, it can be a purchase order and it can be usually it's majorly like a stock transport order where two entities send a stock between each other. But within those two entities, they can treat that operation as a procurement operations where the company needs to track how much stock are being transferred within each other. And a purchasing document like a purchase order or purchase requisition document is triggered. So the standard intercompany billing between these two legal entities, the default approach is early since SAP releases intercompany transfer operation. Now we have the basic and the advanced. So in the intercompany advanced, where company A, sends the delivery is evaluated in stock transfer, and company B receives it. And the cost that is attached within the two companies are being tracked. And based on the cost for transporting the two, between the two company, the stock is being valuated. And based on that valuation, the finance team, handles that operation. So the system can track end-to-end via monitor value chain, and they can also configure mandatory when group valuation is set up. Now, the difference between the classic and the advanced, the aspect of the purchasing, the standard PO can be raised against the vendor master data. And within the advanced, we have advanced order flow with stock in transit. Then if you are looking at valuation, the valuation happens at goods receipt when the goods is being received. But for the advanced, it is continuous while stock is in transit. So you can track all these costs at the transportation level management for advanced intercompany operation. Then monitoring also is manual for basically for classic. So you can monitor any goods that or stock that is being transferred manually. But for advanced, it is end-to-end because there is a monitor value chain app that does that. Now, where it typically fits. So if you have minimal operations or you have simpler transfer operation processes and your operation within your organization is classic, you can just use the classic intercompany transfer, which has to do with transfer between two legal entities. But if it is advanced, like for multinational operations where some organization entity are outside of the country, or maybe they are foreign operations, you have to consider using the advanced intercompany where you need groups need entities, IFRS, grade, transparency, or you need to run group valuation and so on and so forth. Now, where it necessarily matters to match this scenario, you have to stay inside one plant. Staying inside one plant means use a same plant transfer posting. No purchasing document is required. So this is the basic of stock transfer. So if you are transferring from maybe one storage plant to another storage plant, or one storage unit to another storage unit, so you can just use the stock transfer document that is readily available to you. So we have the crossing plant within the same company. So you use an STO document, which is stock transport order document. If there are no shipping document that is needed, or if there are no delivery document that needs to be tracked. Now we have the crossing company code, which is intercompany transfer. You can use intercompany stock transfer order to raise intercompany stock transfer document. And you can also track the transparency of every document that is being raised, including the transportation management document like freight unit, freight order, and other freight charges that is required, including but not limited to any of your landed cost charges within the transportation scenario. Now, layering in warehouse management. Now, SAP S4HANA Public Cloud has its own core delivery document. And within that delivery document, you can also integrate a warehouse management module that SAP already pre-built. It's called Extended Warehouse Management, EWM. So the Extended Warehouse Management from your core SAP S4HANA Public Cloud system, you can raise any delivery document and send that delivery document to your Extended Warehouse Management for extended warehouse operation, where you can also track outbound delivery order. You can track all your warehouse tasks, like your picking list, your handling units, and every of your warehouse operations that is advanced. So the extended warehouse management is actually like an add-on that SAP use to track extended warehouse operation for companies with larger warehouse operation capabilities. And after when you've posted those transactions, the extended warehouse management can, send back what is called, because this is like an integration aspect where the S4HANA Public Cloud is integrated with the extended warehouse management, and any document you send to the extended warehouse can actually be replicated in the extended warehouse management. I mean, any document you send from S4HANA Public Cloud can be replicated into the extended warehouse management add-on, and a goods receipt document can actually be posted back, because it's a two-way transaction thing, so that both ends are actually being reconciled. Now, from the warehouse execution flow, a stock transport order document is raised, stroke a delivery document. The document is being sent. If there's a requirement for an extended warehouse management to be configured, is replicated to extended warehouse management, like an outbound delivery. A pick and pack operation is done within the extended warehouse management workflow. A goods receipt and goods issue is posted within the warehouse extended warehouse management, and a put away and receiving side is being done. And the system, after the whole processes is completed, will now send the goods issue document back to the SAP S4HANA Cloud Public Edition. So the same pattern extends to public or private edition in a situation where the ERP that is integrated with a decentralized extended warehouse management system is either on private or public cloud. All right. Now, let's talk about how transportation management plugs into this whole scenario. Now, we have the stock transport order, which is delivery based, because if we are raising a stock transport order, there are two aspects to it. There's the stock transport order with delivery, and there's the stock transport order without delivery. Now, if you are raising a stock transport order with delivery, then there's an aspect where you can track every transportation charges for that stock transport order, like your freight unit, your freight order, and every other aspect of the transportation management scenario in SAP S4HANA Public Cloud. Now, the master data that you are going to be looking at is the carrier and the load planner. So the carrier are actually like the shipment master data, those who actually undo your carrier operations. They are not more of like, let me say, your DHL, for example. They can be your carrier because they are actually like your procurement or your supplier when it comes to the service you are rendering It's more of like a service rendering vendor that, handles your shipping operations. You can subcontract them. You can also track them within the organization and say, okay, your carriers are within your organization. So they are more of like your business partner when it comes to, tracking your transportation management. So here in this case, you can give logistics planner a document to assign carrier and plan goods against rather than working purely from delivery. All right, what changes financially by scenario? So if you are saying, okay, if the scenario you are working with is same plant, there are no valuation changes because it's actually within the same plant, and a plant can have as many storage units as possible. And within those storage units, it's just for you to move an item from one location to another location. So there is no valuation and nothing is affected when it comes to financial operation, except probably for all your storage units, you have to track each storage unit by a particular, financial GL or general lesson. Then we have the cross plant with same company operation. So the overall value usually unchanged, though it may shift between valuation area or profit center. So here in this case, you can have same company but different plants. And those different plants have their profit center, their cost center, and so on. So if you want to track your cost based on those profit center or cost center, then this scenario is best fitted for you. Then we have the intercompany, which is entity to entity, which generates intercompany sales or purchase. And this scenario covers, the advanced flow of how stock in transit or stock transfer processes are being done, with a heavy customization on how finance does their reconciliation when it comes to how this scenario is handled. Okay, so SAP S4HANA keeps evolving. From 2502 down the line, we have warehouse management add-on, which has a transportation management integration to the stock transfer order scenario, stock transfer scenario. Then we have 2508 with public edition. We are prepared with decentralized extended warehouse management on private cloud or public cloud. Then the new scenario we have, which is the new feature we have, which is the API stock transport order, which is released for programmatic stock transfer order integration. So if your organization is looking at integrating a third-party solution, SAP already have this API that is exposed that you can use to, configure that integration. So the common pitfall, we should also look at that. So do not confuse the 1P7 versus BME, which is stock transfer. Do not confuse it with CSF. So you can decide whether the stock transfer needs a shipping document or it doesn't need a shipping document. So if you are looking at, managing stock transfer classic versus your advanced, then you should be looking at the 1P7, which is the classic, then the BME, which is the advanced. And also where it requires that maybe you only have basically a good valuation, if that is you are looking at a cross-plant inter-plant operation. So you can be looking at 5 HP, which is meant for maybe group valuation, or you can consider otherwise. Then you can also integrate your extended warehouse management if you have complex warehouse operation, and you can confirm exactly which storage location extended warehouse management manage before scoping the integration. All right, for global best practice and SAP standard best practice, let's look at how these operations are done and how you can set up this operation effectively. So you can start from the standard. You can use the SAP Signal View, which is a process navigator scope item, rather than designing from scratch. because SAP already have a pre-configured scope navigation process that helps you, streamline your stock transfer processes. Then you perform your fit to standard, which is early fit to standard operation, which will help you decide if you manage a delivery or non-delivery operation, or if it is important that you integrate your extended warehouse management or transportation management, which is genuinely required for extended operation or advanced stock transfer operation, before you can then plan for go live. Now, the third best practice is to let finance own the intercompany core. Because when it comes to stock transfer or anything that has to do with transferring stock from one location to another location, valuation for some processes are required. And in this case, finance might, be in the best position to decide on how, this valuation should be treated based on, their logistics preferences. Then also, last but not the least, is to track continuous features with delivery. So capabilities like BME, which is extended warehouse transportation management integration, or stock transfer order API, are often arrive at initial go live. So you can most likely utilize these features and SAP captured delivery for most of these processes. All right. Here we are going to be talking about the resources and where to go deeper. So if you want more learning, you can go to SAP Learn Journey, where you can explore some of these processes, signal flow view processes, the SAP library, and so on and so forth. And that is that for the presentation. I'm just going to take you through a bit of the SAP feature for stock transfer. So here I have like 5, let's say 8 process flow, but let me just pick one of these so as just to show you a little bit of SAP feature when it comes to stock transfer. So let me just let's just check this. Let's see how posting goods received for stock transfer it looks like. Okay, here is just a 2 minutes because I'm not going to take much of your time. Here we are going to be looking at how picking and posting goods issue looks like for stock transport order. Okay, so the process starts with you utilizing the cockpit. So here you're going to learn about how a shipping specialist picks and posts the goods issue for a stock transport order. Let's follow the interactive process. So here I'm going to click on the shipping. So on this page, we have, this is actually SAP S4HANA public cloud UI. So at the top, we have the apps and space where you can easily navigate through pages of the application. So here I'm being prompted to choose shipping. So for every stock transport order you do, there's a shipping and receiving space where you can track those changes. So here I can go to change outbound delivery, then enter the delivery documents that we initially posted. So I click on continue. Then here I can define the picking list. So this is the material that we have involved in this process. And this is the plant and the storage location. Then this is the delivery quantity that is expected to be delivered. So if there's a reason that you want to do a partial delivery, then you have to define the picked quantity. So here I'm just going to specify 10, just like as it was mentioned. So when I click on save, it means we've posted the picking record, and a picking delivery document has been generated with replenishment ID. So here I'm going to click on next. Then afterwards, we can then post a goods issue to specify the goods issue document. So I click on next. Now the document is already posted. So an outbound delivery document was actually generated with a delivery document. And now when I click on the post goods issue, the system actually automatically posts the document for me. So here, that's that for picking and posting goods issue for stock material. If you want to learn more, or you need more details about how S4HANA work, feel free to reach out to us at R3 Consulting. We'll be ready to, give you and add some understanding on how SAP handles all this operation. And please note, SAP is a global brand, and many of these, most of these processes that you're looking at are based on global best practice. And feel free to always, get in touch so we can always discuss more on how those operations are being treated. All right, I'm returning to my slide. So I don't think we have anything on my slide. Thank you for joining. Do we have any question before I close out? Any question? In the absence of no question, Victor?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Matthew. I don't know if anybody has a question. Okay, since there's no question, thank you very much, Mr. Andrew. Thank you to everyone who joined. As I said, the recording will be made available for anyone who needs it. You can reach out to myself here on Teams or Mr. Idu. I'll drop my email in the chat right now. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining. We look forward to having you in our next event. Take care.